Welcome everyone to Useful Social Media's webinar on how to integrate social media within your customer service operations for a unified customer support experience. My name is Hayley Dunn and I will be hosting today's webinar. The webinar today forms part of the agenda for this year's Social Media for Customer Service Summit taking place in New York on November the 4th to 5th. All of our brands joining us today will be speaking at the summit, addressing this year's biggest topic areas, from integrating social into your call center, social customer service training, global social support, proactive customer service, and much more. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind you that we are recording this webinar, so everyone will receive the audio recordings next week. The webinar is also interactive, so several polls on which you can vote will be taking place throughout the discussion. And remember to type in your own questions so we can ensure this discussion is as relevant to you as possible. I will aim to get through as many questions as possible. We'll also be using the hashtag CSMCS, which you can see at the bottom of the slide. So any additional questions, feel free to just tweet away. We have 3 fantastic speakers lined up today, and joining us are Lisa Melton, Assistant Vice President at Amica Mutual Insurance, Ashley Pettit, Social Business Advisor at Southwest Airlines, and last but not least, Josh Marsh, CEO and co-founder at Conversocial. So before we kickstart this conversation and have our lovely speakers join us, I wanted to invite you all to vote now on our first poll. So we're just going to get this poll up for you, and as you can see, you can only select one answer. And I will give you around 20 seconds to do so. So to start off with, for all those listening, please do vote as to where does your social media customer service team reside. If you could start kicking off and filling this in now, this will really help ensure we get a good glimpse as to those listening as to where your social customer care fits within your organization. And then we're going to go on to our speakers and find out a little bit more from them. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're now going to close the poll, and shortly you will see the results up on the screen. So as we can see, it's actually quite interesting to see that a lot of this is actually, 42% is still driven by the marketing department when it comes to customer service. And depending if that's right or not, I guess, we can go into more detail later on. And customer service comes second there with 31%. So I want to now jump onto our speakers to find out a little bit more from them as to where does their social media customer service team reside. So if we could go first on to Lisa. So Lisa, it's lovely to have you involved in today's webinar. And
well, good morning, Hayley.
Good morning, Lisa. And as you've just seen there from our poll, the results show that marketing is still dominating the customer service social space, with the customer service team coming second. Could you share a few thoughts on this and where this is sitting at Amica as well?
Absolutely. I'm happy to do so. And thanks to everyone for listening today. I'm happy to be involved in the discussion. And just really quickly, for those who aren't familiar with Amica, we're the oldest mutual insurer in the country, and we're 107 years old, and we provide insurance solutions to individuals and their families. But one of the things that we're most well known for is our commitment to customer service. So for us, when we started really getting involved in social back in 2009, we really wanted to focus and identify the best way to ensure our customers' needs could be met, while also taking into consideration the resources within the organization. So our social customer care team primarily rests in our marketing department, but we also collaborate with our business units because they have the expertise and the knowledge with which to handle our customer questions, complaints, or any issues that they have. So for us, we've really structured it this way because of the specific areas and focus of expertise within our business and the fact that we're all really trying to work together to resolve customer questions that come to us through our social channels.
Thank you for that, Lisa. And one thing I'd just like to ask you there is, when it comes to customers communicating with you and maybe asking customer service inquiries, would that be, just to kind of clarify, would that be the marketing team that would directly respond to that in collaboration with customer care?
Yes, we do. We primarily are the ones who are responding here in marketing. We do work closely with our business units. Again, one of the things I think is a little unique to Amica is that a lot of the questions or concerns that may come in from our customers are things we can't readily discuss online because of privacy issues. A lot of the information may go back to policy-related information or a claim or something related to billing. So we want to make sure that customer's questions are being answered as thoroughly as possible, and a lot of times we can't do that online. So what we'll do here in marketing is we'll respond that someone will reach out to the customer to address their question or concern, and then we'll pass that along to our specific business unit that relates to that question to actually handle that offline with the customer.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Lisa. And I'd love to now jump on to Ashley to see if this is the same at Southwest. And Ashley, good morning, and lovely to have you involved today. And I would love to get your thoughts on both the poll results and where social customer service kind of sits within Southwest Airlines.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on the call today. At Southwest, providing that extraordinary customer service is something that all of our employees do on a daily basis. We truly are a customer service company. We always say we're a customer service company that just so happens to fly airplanes. And so that customer focus along with, our corporate culture and the fun-loving nature of our business has really served us well, I think, in the social space. And so our social media team, we actually took our first step into the social media space in 2006 with the launch of our corporate blog, and then it wasn't until 2008 that we actually had a formal social media team. That team resided within the communications department, and at that time was handling really all aspects of social, so spanning storytelling, content creation, blogger relations, and the initial and early days of customer service issues that would pop up on some of the different channels we were on at that time. And so in those early informative years, it really became more and more evident that our customers were turning to us on these social channels with questions, comments, complaints, all different areas of that customer service, looking for all different aspects of customer service. And so in 2011, we were able to form our first dedicated social care team, and that team actually reported into our customer relations department. The communication and marketing counterparts that we had worked very closely with that social care team. At that time, the social care team only had 3 employees, and so much like Lisa shared, with her folks handling and escalating and working really closely with the customer relations department, we really found that the volume of conversation and questions that we were receiving was really getting to be too large for us to continue kind of bouncing back and forth and constantly pinging our customer relation friends for help. So we did formally form that team. They do sit within the customer relations department. They've grown to a team of 8 employees, so now we have 8 full-time folks that are handling all the different customer service issues that arise on Facebook, on Twitter, and many different forums and blogs. And they're 100% dedicated to social care. We really felt like it was important to have their institutional knowledge of policies, procedures. They have all the training and are true customer service professionals, and we're able to train them on some of the different nuances for just engaging and interacting on social channels. So that's a little bit of insight into how our team is set up. It's not surprising to see those poll results. I think a lot of companies still have that customer service function within communications or within marketing, but I think as you try to scale that social customer care function, it becomes more and more important, I think helpful to have it reside within your customer service department.
Thank you for that, Ashley. And it's interesting here because we do have two different perspectives and two different ways of working with this internally. So it's good to have two differences to showcase to the listeners and start getting more questions in around that. And Josh, what I would like from your perspective, seeing I guess a mix of different brands going across and different ways that businesses are structuring. You've now heard one that's kind of resides within marketing, and then with Southwest, which is more within the customer service space. What would you say, Josh, is your opinion to this and your approach that you've been experiencing across industries at Conversocial?
Sure. Hi, Haley, and great to be on the webinar today. People aren't familiar with what we do. Conversocial is a cloud solution that helps companies do customer service at large scale through social media. We've been going about 4 years almost, and work with about 200 major companies around the world, including people like Hertz, Google, Barclaycard, etc. We've obviously been in this market from very early days when there were very few companies really taking customer service seriously in social media, and we've really seen the market develop over the past few years. And we internally use a number of stages to describe how companies can mature within this, and it's a story that's really very similar to what Ashley just described at Southwest. We describe 3 stages, stage 1, 2, and 3, where in stage 1, social is completely owned by marketing or communications, just really being used for community management, customer service not really involved. At stage 2, social is still owned by marketing or communications, but they might have customer service helping out either directly or responding to emails. And then in the 3rd stage, responsibility gets given to customer service or under the COO or customer experience director to really manage social properly as a customer service channel alongside email, phone, and chat. And we really see that that's the only way that you can deliver large-scale customer service through social media in an efficient way. Obviously, it depends on the volumes, and if the volumes are relatively low, you can make different.
Sorry to cut you there, Josh. The volume's just dipping in and out a little bit there. I was just wondering if you could just see if there's anything with the volume. I know a few listeners are having a little bit of trouble, so it'd be great if you could just up that.
Okay, I'll give that a go. I'm on a headset.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I'm sure everybody's wanting to hear from you, and they're saying it's dipped down a little bit, but that's much better. So continue, Josh.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I'll try and speak loudly as well. Sorry about that. So, like I said, the only model that we've really seen work for large-scale customer service through social media is having this dedicated team of real customer service agents, plugged into your customer service processes, customer service workflow, able to manage and resource them and measure the same kind of analytics around efficiency and performance that you have in the rest of your contact center. Obviously, it does depend a little bit on what type of company you are, and if you're maybe a consumer goods company or a media company, and you might have less customer service issues and you have a lot of general engagement, it's not the same. But certainly for travel, finance, retail, when you get those large volumes, having that dedicated customer service team who are managing social is really the only model that works.
Thank you for that, Josh. And it's good to see that from your perspective, it is having those customer service dedicated and very experienced people that do kind of know those customer answers and those inquiries that can be trained in a sense for this. And that's the way that these brands should really be looking to structure. And something that's just come in, actually, just a quick question that we've had from our listeners, and what that is we've had a question asking, when you have people doing social customer service, it's all well and good, us mapping out this fantastic infrastructure, but then how are you going to, staff that social care team? And to kind of kickstart, I'd like to come back to Lisa. And Lisa, in terms of where this resides within your marketing side, those that are, doing these inquiries and are responding to social customer service comments from your customers, how are you staffing that? I guess, how's that working around the clock? Is that a 24/7, or is that, kind of 9 to 5? Could you go into more detail on that side?
Absolutely. And I think both Ashley and Josh have brought up a good point about volume. And especially if you're like Southwest and Amica, very focused on customer service and wanting to make sure that you're providing exceptional service regardless of the channel in which your customers are contacting you, if your volume is getting too large for you to do that in a reasonable amount of time and meet those customer expectations, it absolutely makes sense to restructure what you're doing and look at it from a different perspective in order to be successful in that channel. For us, we've knock on wood, been fortunate to be able to currently handle the volume that's been coming into our channels, and we do that seemingly 24/7. We are all, that my team that I have here in our marketing department are all here in Rhode Island on the East Coast. We do have some downtime to sleep, but outside of that, our team is working past 5 o'clock, monitoring our channels, contacting our call centers when necessary, after hours and on weekends if there's a question that arises or a customer needs assistance from us. We have the infrastructure in place to know who to contact at those times in order for us to continue providing that excellence in service. So we really focus on, regardless of the time frame in which the question or the comment comes in, we still try to resolve that issue in a relatively short period of time to make sure our customers' needs are being met. So Amica in itself is a 24/7 operation. We have call centers and customer service representatives available to handle calls all times of day. We've found primarily the majority of our interactions do come in during the day with some bleeding over in the evenings and on weekends. And if we find that something's come in pretty late at night, we'll handle that the next day. But we handle that as a priority to make sure that that customer is getting contacted or getting their question resolved quickly.
Fantastic. It sounds like you've got a great way to approach customers throughout the day and ensure that their needs are being met in a very short time frame. And with that, Lisa, we've just had another question come through that I'm just going to pose to you while we've got you here. And I think that this is also very applicable to your industry. And somebody's asked, when it comes to privacy and kind of data privacy, this is becoming increasingly more challenging. And somebody's asked, how do you envision this changing how you serve your customers through social media in the future? So, is the kind of impact of data privacy having a problem for you when it comes to trying to deal with complaints or deal with issues via social, when you obviously are probably quite restrained in what you can talk about?
Yes, I don't know that necessarily it would change, because this is primarily always the way that we've handled it. And especially in insurance and a lot of other highly regulated industries, a lot of times there's really no black and white answer either to a customer's question. So a lot of times we do like to ensure that that customer is contacted offline, because potentially their initial question may lead to additional questions, and a lot of times it really is more effective to have a conversation with that customer about their question that they've posed. So I don't necessarily think that the privacy or data issues would change the way we're doing things at Amica, because it's always the way we've done it. I do think that there are challenges that arise when that customer's expectations continue to provide that they want that response in social. But again, a lot of times that's easily handled with a conversation offline or an email offline or whatever the best way to contact that customer is. And we really haven't run into too many situations where that's been an issue for us. I think customers understand that at least they're being heard, their questions being responded to, and someone's getting in contact with them. And a lot of times we find that they're not even expecting us to contact, and we do. And that really helps solidify the feelings of goodwill and addressing the issues and helping that customer understand that we're listening and that we're there for them. And I think that in and of itself really helps any other feeling of, well, my question didn't get answered in that channel that we might otherwise have.
Thank you for that, Lisa. And I'd love to jump on, as I know we have a limited time and we've got quite a few questions coming in. So I hope that was useful. And I'd love to go over to Ashley next at Southwest Airlines. And Ashley, I've had a question come through specifically to you regarding your social customer service. And that question is looking a little bit at around, one, what is, how is your kind of response times looking? And two, is your customer service currently kind of 24/7, 365 days a year? How is that kind of being staffed at the moment?
So I'll take your second question first. So our social care team right now is staffed 7 days a week from about 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time. So we're not a 24/7 operation just yet. We've just recently added some new folks to our team. So as the team grows and we have more resources in place, we are absolutely looking to have social care team members online helping customers anytime we have airplanes flying in the air. So as long as we have customers at an airport or on one of our airplanes, we want to have resources available to help answer their questions online. And then I think the first part of the question was some of the KPIs we look at. So response rate is something that we've been keeping a close watch on. Up until 30 days ago, we only had a team of 3 folks, so we're by no means capturing every single mention that comes into our brand, but that social care team is really there to get all the ones that are actionable. So customers that have specific questions, specific complaints, or they need help, the social care team is handling all of those type inquiries first, and then our communication and marketing counterparts help to fill in the gaps where we can surprise and delight customers, or if they're just excited to be taking their first flight with Southwest, or they got drink coupons in the mail, we're there to help support and just have some of those fun, goodwill type conversations.
Thank you, Ashley. And something else I'd like to ask you, Ashley, and that is when it comes down to your routing process. And what I mean by that is, say I was, on a flight and I tweeted something at you guys. How are you going to say that could be a complaint regarding service, hypothetically? How does your kind of back end kind of operations work to, take that social engagement down into your kind of response?
Yep, so our social care team, they own 100% of the customer service type interactions. So there are numerous different web-based platforms that folks can use to help manage a social care team, a social care function. And so as those mentions and inquiries come in, we're all in an engagement type console where we can claim different posts so that other team members know that someone's got it, so we don't duplicate efforts in that manner. There are different types of search queries that you can create, so types of conversation, like if we wanted someone handling all baggage type issues and then another team member handling all policy related type questions, we could start to route different types of conversations to different members of our team. The way we're set up now, we don't typically do topic-based routing, but what we do is channel assignments. So different members of our social care team will have, they will be assigned to either Facebook for a week or Twitter for a week, so they can really get in a rhythm for responding and engaging with customers based on the way that community typically communicates, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, and it's good to kind of see how that back end kind of works for you guys. And what I'd like to get, with much experience on this is Josh over at Conversocial. Josh, with work that you guys do at Conversocial, could you give me some more thoughts as to, kind of working to integrate social into customer service and how you guys kind of work with brands for that back end, type help?
Yeah, of course. And just to touch on some of the points that were raised by Lisa and Ashley, we do really think that first contact resolution is a really super important metric and super important thing to try and get to with customer service. When someone reaches out to you with a real challenge or real issue, on whatever channel, the most important thing to deliver the best possible experience you can, if possible, is to just resolve their issue in that same channel. And that's something that's been found even outside of social, but found to be the case whether it's phone, email, whatever, face-to-face. People just want a knowledgeable person who's going to resolve their issue on the other side and not have to channel hop or speak to multiple people. And so getting towards that, we think is really important. Now, obviously, there are situations like Lisa's going to face at Amica, where if you're in financial services or you're in healthcare, then you're not allowed to do certain things over non-secure channels like social, and so you have to take someone to another channel. Our approach to that is that we think it's really important to integrate social with your back-end systems, with your CRM systems, with the rest of your contact center systems, and whether that's because you're having to take them across channel, or it's just because people might email and then they might tweet a week later, you're sharing that information, getting towards a single view of the customer, so that if someone tweets at you, you can see that there's an email history or a case in another CRM system, and you can switch between them, and you have that kind of seamless integration. That's what allows you to deliver a really amazing customer experience and a kind of seamless multi-channel experience, and that's really what you need to be striving for.
Thank you, Josh. And when we're looking at having this kind of truly multi-channel customer service approach, when you've been working with various different brands, what would you say is kind of currently coming up as one of the hardest factors to take social out of marketing? Could you describe maybe some of the challenges that you've seen arisen and how to kind of go about them?
Yeah, I mean, so we see a number of different things. Sometimes we see that marketing don't want to hand over social to customer service because they're worried about trust issues, worried about social customer service getting the tone of voice right. Sometimes we see the other side, customer service not wanting to add to their volumes, add another channel, and thinking that social is something that marketing needs to handle. So it's different and unique for each company. But really the most important thing is getting exec level support for that switchover and really building a proper business case for why it's so important. And there's lots of different ways of doing that. Often the way we see just a very simple way is just to look at competitors and show how competitors are responding faster, getting better sentiment in social, and how they can do that. But you can also look at things like efficiency. How if you had a real team of agents who are resourced properly, you can respond to customers much faster. You can deal with much larger volumes of customers much more efficiently. So there's different ways you can do it, and we often help our customers do that. But the key thing is to get that exec level buy-in and build a business case that's going to be relatively unique to your business, and depending on which execs you need to persuade.
That's a very great point there, Josh, and very interesting to get your perspectives and see what's kind of going on in the industry as many organizations, not all, are trying to take it out of marketing or at least have some very focused customer care social experts. And we do still have quite a few questions coming through. And before I jump over, Josh, I just want to get your quick take. So a lot of people have been asking around 24/7 social customer care, round-the-clock response rates. Have you seen, do you feel that is the way businesses should be going towards, or do you feel, keeping it at a kind of a working hours, customer response online is still, credible?
I mean, obviously it depends on your business. In general, whoever you are, we see really large volumes of social interactions coming in evenings and weekends. And there's been quite a lot of research that suggests that from a consumer perspective, they expect the same kind of response time to questions in evenings and weekends as they do in business hours. And obviously this isn't just about what your consumers want, but it's also about what your customers are seeing. And if social is busiest in the evenings and weekends, and that's when you're getting the most complaints, or questions, well, if you're not there dealing with that and answering it, then that's going to create the most negative brand sentiment and the most negative issues with the highest reach. So that's not really very good. And what you tend to see is that you'll have agents coming in the morning and spending hours clearing the backlog of the previous evening, and then they don't get to the morning's ones until the afternoon, and you just end up with a really slow response time. So I think the most important thing is to actually monitor, see what time of day people are getting in touch, and make sure you're resourcing for that. Do you need to be 24/7? We've seen a number of clients do that and had really great really great results from it. Again, I think it depends on your clients. If you're a travel company and you have people traveling with you, using your services 24 hours around the clock around the world, then you want to be there when your customers need you. If you're an online retailer and you've got coverage from early in the morning to late in the evening, and that's when 90% of the volume is, then do you need to be 24/7? Probably not. So I think you've got to tweak it to your unique use case, but absolutely, just keeping this to kind of standard 9 to 5 business hours probably isn't going to cut it.
Thank you for that, Josh. And just had another question come in, so I'm going to quickly jump back to Ashley on this. So someone's just said here that, Ashley, you mentioned numbers of your team that might be assigned to one specific social network for a week. And somebody's asked here if you could just elaborate a bit more on if there's any benefits to having this, this type of approach.
So we see a lot of benefits to this approach. It's worked well for us over the last 3 years that we've had our social care team in place. But really what it allows us to do, it allows our team members to really focus in on the types of questions, the types of comments and conversation that's happening on a particular channel and really get in a rhythm for how they're communicating on that channel. So there's not a constant bouncing back and forth between 140 characters on Twitter to more longer responses on Facebook. And so they can kind of get into a little bit of a rhythm. I think there's some productivity benefits there that we've seen, and really start to build a rapport with the customers and with the community. So there's that consistent voice on a regular basis, at least for a week, for a week-long increment on each of the different social channels that we have at presence.
Thank you for that, Ashley, and I hope that's helped answer that question that we've had coming through. We've got loads of questions, so I know that I'm going to quickly jump onto one we've just recently had to come through, and that is for Lisa. Lisa, I'd love to come back to you. So we've had a question come through, and this is asking, when it comes to social support related questions, are these tracked into your CRM system? How is your social interactions kind of going into your kind of CRM system at the moment? Is there something happening there?
That's a great question, and it's something that we've talked about a lot. Currently, we don't have integration in our CRM system, but it is something that we're very interested in doing because we understand how helpful that could be, especially to our frontline teams, to know, this person, has engaged with us on Twitter, and this is some of the feedback that they've provided. So it's definitely something that we understand is a necessity. It's just, as I'm sure with many companies, identifying priorities and ensuring that we can get that on the docket to make happen. But it is something that we've absolutely talked about because we recognize the importance of having that integration.
Absolutely, and just to since this is such a kind of key area, I'd just like to quickly see what Ashley's thoughts are as well. If there is Ashley that integration with your social questions coming through and your CRM system, have you got something in place?
So we're in the same boat as Lisa. We are very interested in creating that single view of our customer and integrating all of the social conversation that we're having, with our customers and with that more traditional customer database. It's something that we're working on and working towards in the future, but we do not have that in place today.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Ashley. And what I would like to do is, social customer service is becoming, so much more increasingly important. And it seems that discussions around this are, ever more so important than, what used to be all about marketing. And what I want to figure out from all those listening in is a little bit as to how advanced you are currently with your social customer service strategy. So I'm just going to pose our second poll of the day. And this poll is, have you created a truly multi-channel social customer service strategy? And if you could just answer as to how advanced you feel you are when it comes to really embedding social media into your customer service strategy. And so we have a lot of responses coming through now, and this is a great opportunity to figure out how advanced you are and hopefully give you some top tips as we round up for today's webinar. So please do get any last-minute questions in, as we do only have about 5 minutes or so. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we've just had the results come through, and it's very interesting to see that the smallest percentage is actually on, yes, we are advanced. So it's looking like a lot of people are either, still haven't managed to get there, or are currently, their focus is to really kind of get this into the process. And I guess coming on to you, Josh, I would like to kind of get your thoughts on, it seems here that, there's not many people that have managed to really have this integration as of yet. Is this the same from what you're seeing? And, what do you feel would be some kind of good tips for these brands that are in these very early stages to try and really get this integration into place?
Yeah, I think these numbers are pretty indicative of the entire market. I think we're still seeing a pretty big push from companies just to get social integrated into their customer service processes. Maybe only 10% of the market have really got social fully integrated into the contact center, just from a team process analytics perspective, even before they're starting to plug in the technologies. We've certainly seen a big increase since the beginning of this year of companies really taking that integration a lot more seriously. We've been talking about it for a number of years, where we've now got actual live integrations with CRM systems, with contact center systems, and it can be a pretty big job. Sometimes you're talking about big old enterprise systems like Oracle and SAP, with systems integrators in the middle, and new tools like Conversocial being plugged in, and CRM systems on the side. So it can be a lot of work. The value on the other side is huge in terms of the customer experience and matching up that data and getting towards a single view of the customer. But it really requires the organization to take social seriously as a customer service channel, alongside phone, email, chat. But we're seeing among our biggest customers, once they've invested properly in social as a service channel over a couple of years, that it can be making up to 10% of all inbound service volume. And at that level, if you're not integrating it fully into the contact center, you're really going to start going into big issues.
That's a very great point there. And something else has just come in, and I really want to get this in quite quickly, because it's such a great question, such an important thing that a lot of businesses are facing, and that's looking at when it comes to global social customer support. So, Josh, as you're still on the line, what I want to kind of ask you is, there's brands, across the US that have presences across, multiple countries, and obviously those inquiries and those complaints are going to be coming in different languages, in different tones of voice, and different kind of cultural expectations. How are best businesses, and how are you helping businesses, to deal with various tones of voice from different locations when it comes to customer response?
Yeah, I think the only kind of real solution to this, when you're talking about different territories, is that you need regional customer service teams. If you're trying to do customer service in China, you need Chinese customer service agents. If you've got people in South America, you need Portuguese and Spanish speakers who are native. Social is so important, so public. The chance of going wrong is so high that you can't really afford to be using Google Translate to try and be delivering public customer service. And so if you need to have those regional operations. You've obviously then got to think about the structure of your social accounts. Do you have local Facebook pages, local Twitter accounts? and different teams managing those. If you're trying to do proactive customer service and find people who aren't mentioning you but are just talking about you, then it's really important you're not just using a basic search on Twitter, but that you're using something a bit more advanced, like something we offer, or DataSift or other listening vendors, where you can really separate out which country are people tweeting you from, what language are they tweeting from, and route those to different teams who are native speakers. But I think so that's from a software perspective, but the most important thing is really having those native speakers and those regional teams.
Thank you, Josh, for that. That's some great insight, and I hope that's helped when for the person that posed the question regarding global customer service. And we've also just had a really good question come in that I'd like to pose to Lisa. And this question is looking at, Lisa, could you please give your own perspective from what you've seen as to whether having a social customer service presence has really improved your overall kind of customer service operations and customer experience? Do you feel that it is worthwhile having that social capability for customer service?
Without a doubt. There is not a question in my mind that our presence in our social channels helps assist us in providing exceptional customer service. We see it pretty much every day. I mean, we recently had a customer who was upset with regard to a roadside assistance issue. She was incredibly upset. She posted on our Facebook page. We reached out to her, and again, this was on a Saturday in the middle of the day. We were able to immediately reach out to our call center who handled that customer's issues and complaints, and she came back and thanked us and talked about how fantastic everyone was and how her issue was completely resolved. So it's those types of customer success stories that really helps us support the things that our frontline teams are doing every single day to provide that great service. But I also feel that if we weren't there, if we weren't present in the conversation, we'd be missing out on so many opportunities to either thank customers for compliments, which we do regularly, to answer questions, to resolve issues. We'd really be missing out on a lot of opportunities. So I can't say enough of how much our social efforts assist us in what we're really trying to do overall as a business. When Ashley mentioned that they're in the service business and they just happen to fly planes, we feel very strongly that we're also in the service business and just happen to sell insurance. So that angle, that focus is incredibly important to us, and social just absolutely assists us in our efforts in making our customer service successful.
And with that, Lisa, when it comes to, it sounds like, from even given examples there, that you can truly see the value in this. And do you find that when it comes to some maybe top management, do you have to prove to them, through such metrics? Is there any type of metrics that you're using to kind of show this to the top?
Yes, and I think, a lot of our metrics that we look at align with our mission statement and Amica's mission is to provide peace of mind and build enduring relationships. And we really see social as a way for us to build those enduring relationships and support that piece of our mission statement, in addition to creating peace of mind and knowing that customers have another channel in which to reach us. So the things that we really focus on when we're communicating with our senior leadership is how often are we engaging with customers, and what does that engagement look like, and how often or how many types of comments that we receive or mentions that we receive are serviceable, and what's the turnaround time for those. So there's a lot of things that we're looking at with regard to how we manage our social channels to really provide the value to senior leadership and ensuring that this is really a part of our future. It's a part of our overall strategic objectives, and it's working. And if there's things that we need to focus on or that we need to tweak, these things are telling us what those are, and we're addressing that. so they've really, I feel very fortunate in that Amica is incredibly supportive of our social efforts. We've really focused a lot in the last few years ensuring that social is a big part of our organization and integrating it in a number of different things that we're doing. There's a lot of social conversations that are happening throughout the organization. So I feel incredibly fortunate for that, and I think that moving forward it's just going to continue to grow and show its worth and really become another channel, strong channel with which we do our business.
Thank you for that, Lisa. And I'd love to just, get a different perspective from Ashley and see whether, this is also proven to be successful. And Ashley, just kind of relating back to that question, so what I asked previously was, do you feel that having a social customer service presence does increase overall customer satisfaction? Do you feel that there, you do need to be on social for customer service, or do you feel you could manage without and customers would still be just as happy?
No, absolutely. I agree with everything Lisa said previously. Our social presence has been, crucial to us, continuing to evolve and grow and go where our customers are. And with the social revolution that's been happening over the last couple of years, it's been we've seen tremendous value in communicating with our customers on the different social networks, customer service, and the social care has been a huge piece of that, in addition to just getting to know who some of our super fans are and really using some of the real-time customer feedback and insights that we glean from the social web and sharing that back across our company with our product owners and subject matter experts so that we can integrate some of that feedback in to the decisions that are being made so we can improve our business. One of the real benefits of all things social is that it's happening and it's in real time, and we have unlimited access to all of that wealth of data at our fingertips. And so the more we can share all that great feedback back across the company, the better place. That will only put us in a better place. We have great leadership support from our executives. They get it. They know it's important. We've had several high-profile incidents with customers or influentials where we've really been able to show the importance of social media and how we've been able to diffuse a situation or communicate in the event of a crisis or turn a customer that had a really negative experience on board one of our planes into a positive and really save that customer and get them coming back to Southwest and thanking us for doing the right thing. So there's countless examples, but I think it's continuing to share that information and get it out of your social team back across the company. I think that's a continual education process and continuing to just kind of be your own PR person and champion all the good work and happenings across the social web.
Thank you, Ashley. And just one more question for you quickly, as I know we've got a few more minutes left now, and that's someone's asked, how do you monitor social care interactions and measure whether they are successful? Do you have any tips for this?
So I think the best way to tackle that is going to be utilizing, if you're utilizing any kind of web-based platform or any kind of console to help manage your social care activities, the use of tags I think is really important. So as you're having the one-off conversations with customers and you're converting that customer from a negative experience and turning their attitude around to be positive, I think the use of tags can help you. That's a very tactical way of doing that. I think it's also looking at overall sentiment of conversation at the higher level, at the brand level, could also be a really good indicator of how all of the interactions you're having with your customers in the social space are actually moving the needle, generating goodwill, and increasing just positive sentiment towards your company.
Thank you for that, Ashley. And as we come to a roundup now, I'm going to come over to Josh for some last insight, as it's been absolutely fantastic to have both Southwest and Amica share some of what they've been doing. And Josh, what I'd like to, firstly just ask you is a little bit on what I just asked Ashley there when it comes to how to monitor social care interactions and measure whether they are successful. What are your ideas on this?
Yeah, so first of all, just to quickly touch on the question you asked earlier about, is this important to customer service? Do you have to offer it? I think that's now been answered. When someone's having a bad experience or they've got a question, they're not waiting until they get home and on their desktop computer. They're on their smartphones, they're on social. This is the communication channel for the next generation, and you just can't get away from that now. So you have to be there, you have to be dealing with it properly. In terms of measuring it, we think it's really, really important to be able to apply the same kind of rigor and the same kind of KPIs and performance management as you would in any other customer service channel. And that means really paying attention to things like first response time, how quickly you're getting back to a customer the first time they reach out, understanding things like average handling time. How long does it take you how long does it take an agent to really deal with an issue like a refund issue or a returns issue, and being able to compare that to other channels, understand the efficiency, see where there's kind of roadblocks. And then, like Ashley talked about, using things like tagging, understanding the types of issues, the types of problems that you're getting over social is really important. One of the amazing values of social media is that because it's public, because it has such an impact on your brand, it really has a lot of exec interest. And so whereas a lot of feedback that may have been collected by the call center before was kind of being swept under the rug, we're seeing massive interest from execs and R&D departments in the reports that are coming from social service teams. What are the current issues that our customers care about? What are the problems that are trending? And so it really gives a massive opportunity for people who are managing a social care team to really extend that voice across the organization and really start to make real positive changes to how companies are doing business.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Josh. And something else I'd like to get your perspective on, Josh, is somebody's mentioned, throughout these conversations, Facebook and Twitter have been mentioned as channels to, interact with customers for the customer service side. Are there any others that you've seen businesses use to tackle social customer service problems and issues, other than those mentioned?
Yeah. Sure. So, Facebook and Twitter are still definitely the dominant platforms for social service. We're really starting to see a big uptick in the amount of engagement on Instagram. Obviously, it varies by brand, but certainly for a lot of retailers, we're seeing the posting photos of products and then people in the comments asking about those products, asking where they can buy them, asking customer service questions that could actually lead to sales and real kind of revenue opportunities. So we're really interested in that. But I think in general, what we're seeing is that with the growth of smartphones is that how people interact and communicate socially on a smartphone is still in flux. No one really knows where the market's going to be in 18 months. Snapchat is increasing massively among consumers. If you look to Asia, there's massive use of the one-on-one messaging apps, things like WeChat, the equivalent of WhatsApp for customer service. Will that kind of transfer over to the West? There's still a lot of unanswered questions, and I think no one quite knows where we're going to be in a year or two down the line. So it's a really exciting time and exciting space to be innovating.
Thank you, Josh. That was an absolutely fabulous roundup there, and probably leaving people with a few questions as well as to new avenues. And it sounds like this is not going to be the end, and this is only just starting when it comes to serving your customers via social. And on that note, I would like to thank you all for joining today's webinar, and a big thank you to our excellent speakers, both Josh, Ashley, and Lisa, for sharing their insight to you today. As I mentioned earlier on, all of the brands speaking here will be joining us at this year's Social Media for Customer Service Summit in New York. So to find out more about this year's summit, you can just click on the link found on your screen to see what Josh and Southwest Airlines and Amica will be involved in later in the year. So I hope to see you all in November, and as I said before, you'll all be receiving audio recordings sent to you next week. So I hope you enjoy listening back, hopefully not too much to my voice, but listen to our great speakers for their great takeaways. Good day.